So here we go. I've got a new setup for this week's show. I've got a new microphone set up where the microphone's actually something that might be reasonably professional this time, rather than using a laptop mic or hooking up a set of earphones with a little mic in the earphones. So yeah, it's starting to get a bit more professional, or at least technically a bit more professional. I've started to know what I'm doing now. I can work my way around an hour's radio show and just about managed to come up with an hour's worth of content with the help of a chat room, usually, and it works reasonably well. It's all stream of consciousness, so it just happens the way it happens. I prepare it. I'll be preparing for 3 or 4 hours this afternoon. And I had a conversation with Mona Radler last night on Revolution Radio on her show for a couple of hours. So I might reuse some of the material that came out of that, if I can remember what I said, which mostly I don't. So, but it'll come out if it's appropriate. If the same topic comes up, then I'll probably say, roughly speaking, the same thing. And I was talking to Mona about what was I talking to Mona about? Money, metaphysics of money last night, briefly. So I've set up a podcast on Spotify and Anchor.fm and Google Podcasts, various other places. It's called Metaphysics of Money on Anchor, which is where I record it. On Spotify, it's called Newcastle Goes Global, because I originally registered it as that name, and I've decided to change it slightly. So it's now called Metaphysics of Money, but you can find it by looking for Newcastle Goes Global on most platforms. I don't know whether Anchor FM will change it or not on anybody else's platform, but it doesn't really matter. As long as people know what they're looking for. I can talk about Newcastle, I can talk about Metaphysics of Money, I can talk about just about anything I want to talk about. It doesn't matter what it's called, really. It's just something as a placeholder. I can change the name anytime I want to anyway, on Anchor. So that's going to be about 20 minutes every Friday. Friday afternoons from now on are going to be my Metaphysics of Money podcast project, because I decided I've left it lying around for about a year without doing very much to it, and it's about time I started doing something with it. So what I might do is record it and broadcast at the same time, so live stream or do it this way and record on the laptop and record on the smartphone for Anchor, and see if I can get two things done at once for about 20 minutes on a Friday afternoon. That would be a successful way of doing two things at once, I think. Anyway, if you get the urge, have a look for Metaphysics of Money on Anchor.fm. There's potential for me to earn a little bit of money by running ads before the podcast, so I thought I might see how that goes. I don't know whether Anchor FM's terms of service allows me to do what I want to do without giving them a passport or whatever, but I'm not making money at the moment, but there's the potential to do that, which is always a good thing, I think. If I'm going to put energy into broadcasting, it might be a good idea to at least get something back. And as it's called Metaphysics of Money, concentrating on ways to generate income or change your state of being to become somebody who's able to accept a greater income is part of the podcast. So I need to generate that. I need to demonstrate that as I go along with the podcast. So 20 minutes on a Friday afternoon isn't a huge amount of commitment. I've got an hour's radio show on a Saturday, 20 minutes on a Friday afternoon I can manage. And then I've got to promote both of them. So I've got to do guest slots on Revolution Radio and other people's podcasts and various bits and pieces on YouTube just to promote everything that I'm doing. So the promotion becomes a thing that I have to think about as well. There's not much point in spending an hour and a half generating content every week unless I promote it. So this is part of the promotion really. Just to let you know what I'm doing, how I'm thinking about things. I'm going to stick with no more than an hour and a half's content, and everything else I do will be referring back to that content. That's enough really. You don't need more than that. I can get the point across in 20 minutes on a podcast, and in segments, 20-minute segments on a radio show. So that's all I really need. So the idea is that everything else that I do will be promotion. So that's it from me. Hopefully I'll see you this afternoon for the radio show. If not, check out Metaphysics of Money on Anchor.fm, and that's going to be a regular weekly podcast.